Hello, unstoppable writers. How are you today? If you are tuning in live, I would love to know that you're here. So just go ahead and type in here. If you were watching the replay, go ahead and type replay. I love seeing who's here. I love engaging with you in this group. Today I'm going to talk about 3 things that you have got to do every day to engage and build your list. As writers, we know this is so important. If we don't have a list, we don't have an audience, and yet so many of us are stuck and wondering, how do I build this list? Who is my audience? What can I be doing every day to connect and engage with them? And what I've found is that so often we make this much more complicated than it needs to be. We think that we have to master Facebook ads. We think that we have to write a blog post every day. We just think of all these things to do. And what happens is that we get so overwhelmed because there's so much to do in our minds. And at the same time as we're spinning our wheels, we're not actually connecting and engaging with our audience. If that sounds familiar to you, if you can say, "Oh, that's me, I struggle with this," go ahead and just type in me. We've all been there. There's no shame in that, owning that struggle. So before I dive into the content though, I wanted to tell you a story that ties into this. So as some of you have seen on my Facebook page, I got a haircut today, and this experience was incredible. And the reason I'm telling you this story is, as I tell you, I want you to think about what this company, what this hairdresser did to go above and beyond and to connect to me. So I've had some bad experiences with hairdressers. I have very fine hair, and sometimes I go in and they just kind of do these blunt cuts, and so you can see every single cut. They don't take their time. They're grumpy, they're hurried, stressed, all these things. So today, I literally, sitting in the hairdressing chair, I almost cried because it was such a beautiful experience. I arrived to the company and the owner greeted me. He was at the front desk. He asked me if I wanted a beverage. He got me checked in. He said, "Okay, I'm going to go notify your hairdresser that you're here." And he walked back to go notify her. She came up and walked me back to her station, and then she took the time to really listen, made great eye contact, and tell me and listen to exactly what I was looking for. And then she even repeated it back to me and used the actual professional hairdressing words so that I could know that she understood. And so I even learned some of the language that I can use when I'm talking to a hairdresser. So then she cut my hair, she checked in with me along the way, is this the length you want? Are these layers enough? Do you want more layers? And then she even showed me, what I'm going to do? I'm going to show you what's in right now, the way that people are curling their hair and how to do that. Now for me, this is invaluable because although I show up on Facebook Live with makeup and hair, I generally am not a makeup hair person. On my days off, I don't even wear makeup some days. And because my hair is so fine, a lot of days I'll just shower and go. And so this information, this valuable information of how to style my hair so that it's actually in right now and so that it looks good and so it's easy, that was an incredible experience. Not only that, she also was chatting with me, finding out what I was interested in. When she heard I was from out of town, she said, "Oh, are you interested in any places? Do you have some good places to eat? Do you want to know some places?" And so I literally walked away from this hairdressing appointment with 3 restaurants that I can go try, with a great haircut. I know exactly the tools, the curling iron that I need to buy to be able to do this at home. And then on my checkout, they had so many great things. They gave me a discount because it was my first time. They gave me a punch card, so every so often I get a free or a half off haircut. And then the owner gave me a lipstick sample, which I'm wearing right now. So needless to say, I was blown away by this experience. And I had to share it with you because it ties into the topic for today. And so I want to give you those 3 ways that you can daily be building and engaging your email list. So the first one is that you have to show up. So often when we come online, when we're engaging with our list, we have these walls. We think that we need to be someone other than we are. And so we're looking around, how is everyone showing up? What are they doing? What are they talking about? And we forget to be ourselves. We forget to be who we are. And this was so freeing when I realized that I just could show up and be me and care about people and ask questions and be interested. That was a game changer, because now when I come to social media, I'm not, frantically scurrying, wondering, how am I going to find my audience? No, I get to show up and I get to ask questions. I get to listen to what they're going through, and I get to be myself and show up regularly. So I want to encourage you with your audience, with your list, be yourself, show up, ask questions. If someone tells you, hey, I'm having surgery this day, make a note on your calendar and send them an email. When we show up, it is so powerful, and it's so rare today in all the noise of social media that when you show up, it will get noticed, because very few people are showing up and interacting. And so if you can be the person who is starting conversations, who is listening, who is being interesting, people will pay attention. So show up. If you got that one, if you're ready for me to go on to number 2, go ahead and type in number 2. Again, I love connecting with you. I want to know you're here. I don't want to just be talking to my room to myself. So go ahead and put in a number 2. So the number 2 thing that you can do is for you to listen and research. I hated the word research. When I heard research originally, I would, those kind of shivers up my spine. I love emotion and story, but here's the thing. Research is really just listening and paying attention. And so when you know who your audience is, when you know who you are, and then the easiest thing is that you have to listen. You don't have to figure out what to say, what topics to talk about. You literally can just go to where your audience is, and if you only know like one person who's your audience right now because you're trying to build it, that's okay. Talk to that one person and listen. What are their challenges? What are their desires? What are they interested in? What are they putting on their Facebook accounts? And this has taken so much work out of the content creation and so much work out of trying to figure out what to say, because once you know your audience, you're just listening and you're using their words and you're creating what they're interested in. So, okay, number 1, you got to show up, and then you got to listen, pay attention, research. Another way to research is to look at what other people in your field are doing and what's being successful. So your research can be even as you scroll through your Facebook and there's an ad that interests you, you can go ahead and screenshot that or take a copy of it and then pay attention. Think about, why is this interesting to me? What emotion are they getting? And when you find someone in your field that you look up to or that you is doing closely to what you want to do, you can pay attention and see which of their posts are getting comments and why. So often we fall into these comparing games where we're constantly looking around, what is everyone doing? But we're not taking it to that deeper level of research where we're asking the questions. What are they doing? Why is it working? What does the audience want? And so I really want to encourage you, if you even cut your social media time in half and just spend most of that time listening and researching, looking at what the people in your field are doing, what the people you admire are doing, that's reaching the audience that you want to reach, you will gain so much insight and you won't be stuck in that comparative negative cycle. Okay, so we've got that. Number 1, show up. Number 2, research, listen. If you are ready for number 3, go ahead and type a 3 in the comments. I want to see those 3s. So go ahead, I'm just going to give you a moment. Type 3 if you're ready for number 3. Okay, here we go. Number 3 is give generously. And this, again, is one of those words we hear and we think, what does that even mean, give generously? Well, when I think about giving generously, what that means to me is that I am going to be an expert and I am going to create great content. And we've heard so much. We know the buzzwords. We know lead magnet. We know, the free ebook to get people connected. But all of those tools, they really boil down to great content and giving generously. And so I really want to encourage you, if you are spending most of your time just like frantically producing things or looking around, that is not the best use of your time. The best use of your time to capture and build your audience is to be creating great content. Because if someone has the choice between reading a bunch of, bland posts that all kind of sound the same, or engaging with a piece of content that's meaty, that's deep, that really like hooks them, they're going to do that. And even if you've noticed this group, this is one of my strategies for being generous, because I want to help writers. I want to help people take it to the next level. And so one way to be generous is through video or through lead magnets. And so I really want to encourage you to think outside the box on this and give away that content. And not just any content. I want you to give your best content. And the reason for this is so often as writers, we kind of all have our piece of paper, like when you're in elementary school and the teacher gives a drawing project, so everyone's drawing, and then there's always those kids who have like their arms all over their paper and they're like, don't look at my paper, don't copy me, it's mine. And they're just, very protective and like pushing people away. That is not who we want to be if we're going to attract and gain an audience. We want to be the person who's saying, oh, look at this, this is the color I'm using, oh, you like that color, you could do it too. Connecting with people. And so that's where being generous is, giving away content, quality content, and doing it consistently. So often we want to jump right into buy my book or buy this service or do this. And the way that comes across is so sleazy, because it's like going up to a stranger on the street and saying, will you be my friend? Or for some of you, maybe you've experienced this, where you're in a grocery store and that creepy guy comes up and he's like, wow, you're so pretty, you want to grab coffee? And we're just like, ooh, no, that's creepy, leave me alone. And when we're offering our books, when we're offering our services, we don't want to be the creepy person. And the way that we do that is by building trust and by being generous. And so that's where, I had never fully understood these words before, but that's where really nurturing and building your list comes in. If your list is only ever getting your offers and your sales, they're going to get really worn out and they're not going to stick. But if you are consistently offering good content and engagement, they're going to stick, because you're showing up, you're listening to what they want, and you're giving generously of great content. And the interesting thing, when you give your best, your greatest content away, is you always get more. If you are just giving, okay, I want to charge for this, so I'm only going to give away these little measly crumbs, people are going to see your little measly crumbs and say, wow, that's all they have, I definitely don't want to work with them. But if you are giving away your best content, they will say, wow, she knows what she's talking about. I want to work with her. I want to know more. I want to connect. And they will stick with you. You'll build that audience. And the interesting thing is, as you do that, you will gain more expertise, more value. It ties back to that verse, the more you give, the more you receive. And so rather than hoarding it and trying to do it all on our own, we can move so much faster. We can gain that audience through giving generously. So I hope these tips are helpful for you. I would love to hear which one of these stood out to you the most: showing up, researching, or giving away great content. I would love to hear what resonated with you, what you're going to put into practice this week. And let me know if you have questions. I'm going to try checking the comments really quickly here on my computer. So if you have questions, let me know. Just checking my computer. There it is. Okay, number 3. You guys are ready. You're awesome. For some reason, I can't see comments on my phone, so that's why I'm going to look at my computer. Great. So I see your comments. Thank you guys for joining me. Thank you for commenting. And again, if you have questions, if you have takeaways, share them. We'd love to hear them. And we'll be in touch soon. Have a great rest of your day. Bye. Hold on. There we go.